Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our next episode of Anthony's Journey. So, from our last story, we just left LaGuardia Community College. I just graduated. I had a lot of great experiences there, such as my Con Edison internship and overcoming one of my first major hurdles, which was the biology class that we discussed in my last episode. So, today we're actually at Baruch College now, and Baruch College was a great experience for me overall, and it definitely toughened me up more because of the strict grading system they have there, where, for example, I think only 20% of people can get A's and 10% can only get AAs, like, just a regular A, which is the 4.0 in most cases. So definitely Baruch was definitely a tougher challenge than LaGuardia Community College in the sense of, maintaining your GPA was much more strict. So one of the first things I actually want to talk about is actually kind of like my first surprise when I got into Baruch College. So something that I did while I was in high school was I did take some College Now courses. And, when I was in high school, I was very focused on making sure that my high school grades were good. But when I took my College Now courses, I didn't actually foresee this being something that, as long as I got, I passed the class and I felt like that was good. But my unexpected surprise was that one of the courses that I actually took while I was in high school was at Baruch College. So I actually ended up getting a C+ in my College Now course. And this C+ actually transferred over with me when I started at Baruch College. So I actually started off at Baruch College with a 2.3 average, day one. So I was actually pretty distraught. I felt terrible because I was like, okay, so the start of my next chapter and I'm already kind of starting from behind. So I'm already at a 2.3 average, and I was pretty devastated. I thought that this was another challenge, another roadblock for me. And so what I decided though was I kind of signed up for all of my classes, and I decided to not let this be the be all end all for me. So, I signed up for like psychology, I signed up for business management, I signed up for quite a few courses. I signed up for roughly 5 courses while I was here, and overall, it was, the courses were a little bit more intense, and I won't lie, I did have to study a lot more. I did start to form, new friend groups that were all accountants and a mix of like finance, accounting. And, overall, like, I did feel the culture was so different there. I felt like everyone's a lot more diligent in the sense of, their studies. And overall, it was definitely a tougher environment where people were constantly in the library, constantly studying. So I kind of took on a new meaning in the sense of, becoming a different version of myself, even at Baruch College, where I was no longer able to kind of, it's not that I wasn't studying very hard in LaGuardia, but Baruch took it to the next level where there was a lot more competition, a lot more at stake, where, if I wanted to maintain my high GPA, especially now with like starting off at a 2.3, I kind of had to really, do my best and really understand that, I have to be kind of the top of the top if I can be. So definitely I took my studying a lot more seriously. I in between courses, I was kind of listening to my professor's recordings. I was taking notes. I was in study groups. I was definitely ensuring that I was continuing my path down my journey of, want to become the accountant that I want to be. So as I was navigating my, my courses, something that kind of came up and really surprised me was that one of my courses that I genuinely enjoyed was actually psychology. So as I was taking my psychology course, I really was fascinated with kind of how the mind works, where it's, that you have your short-term memory, you have your long-term memory. It really helped me to establish why sometimes I was having trouble studying. It kind of cemented the reason why, I wasn't able to study as efficiently as I wanted to be. And overall, it was definitely a course that really brought new light to me, and I genuinely enjoy, especially the labs, and also the experiments that sometimes I would be a part of. It was great. I think I genuinely enjoyed psychology overall, and I was excited to wrap up this course in order to actually get into my next year, or my next semester while I was in this year. Hello everyone, my name is Anthony and I'm the host of TheLostSanctuary. I hope you've been enjoying our content so far, And if you have, please feel free to like and subscribe. Also, we have our website up here, and we also have some socials down here. And as always, leave your comments down below. So now we're in our, so I got through the first semester, and I actually ended up getting A's in all my courses. So it was definitely it was definitely grueling though. I did have to study a lot more, and it was overall a tough experience. But then I could finally start my my business related courses. So I got into the Zicklin School of Business, and I was able to actually start my business courses. So one of the first courses that I actually have to take was Intermediate Accounting 1, and I had to take a finance course, and there was a mix of courses like statistics that I also had to take. So it was overall a lot more different once I got into the Zicklin School of Business. Once you're in there, there is actually a strict rule where if you fail a course more than 3 times, then you actually are kicked out of the school too. So there were a lot of students who told me about one course in particular, which I probably would take around my 3rd or 4th semester here at Baruch, which was cost accounting. Cost accounting, or managerial accounting in some cases, basically talks about, just to give you guys a little more context, that is actually kind of like production accounting, where, for example, if you create a bottle of water, how much does that cost you on the back end overhead, which is like your rent and things like that, and kind of like how much it costs to produce that 1 unit. So that's not something that's very normal to use. In most cases, as accountants, we work in the service industry, so we're not really in the the unit of economics sector, or effectively like creating bottles. So that was not something that I was used to. Even when I took my first 2 accounting courses at LaGuardia, we never really talked about bottle creations of bottles, creation of materials. So definitely not like the norm, I feel, overall. So yeah, so as I was going through my intermediate accounting courses, my finance courses, it actually the competition actually heated up even more. I had a lot of students at Baruch College who were extremely intelligent, who were very competitive in nature, but it wasn't like a negative competition. It was more understanding that competition is necessary, and it's important to actually compete with others, because they make you a better version of yourself. As you have more competition in your life, it actually motivates you to push further above and beyond. I think this is what I really learned in my experience here at Baruch, especially my first year, was that competition is essential to effectively bring you to your next vertical, your next level in life. So I genuinely, took the mantle and took up the challenge, because I knew that if I didn't, I would sadly be, getting B's, getting C's. So it really took a lot of my time, and sometimes I would be studying sometimes 40 hours, 60 hours a week, just to ensure that I was in the top 20 percentile of students. And in some cases, I was able to thankfully make it to the top 10% and get the A's. So it was definitely a challenge, even like as I took my intermediate accounting 1, as I took finance, as I took all these courses, and I would always be full-time, so I would always be taking 5 courses. And sometimes when it was like finals time, I would actually be dreading it, because sometimes I would be taking 2 or 3 finals at once. So sometimes the materials would be kind of all jumbled in my brain. Sometimes the tests were back to back. So it was very intense. I won't lie, like Baruch College would push me to the next level. It really transformed my perspective that, it's important to, learn from your peers, but at the same time, always think about like, hey, there's always going to be some friendly competition, and you're going to have to kind of sometimes do better than your peers in order to secure the spot that you need. So, and to be honest, that's very common in life, to actually, be in competition with others, because depending on like who you compete against, that's the person that's going to get the job. That's the person that's going to secure the promotion. That's the person that's going to get the raise. It's all down to who is doing the best at the time. So essentially, who's connecting more with their peers, who's doing their job best technically. It's all boils down to, who is doing the best at that time. So it's important to understand that, you can kind of cruise by and kind of still get your paycheck, of course, or get like a decent grade. But if you want the best grade, it's gonna come down to you to actually, step up and actually, learn new skills, change your strategy of how you tackle things. I think all of these are very key and important to your growth as a person. So it's important to actually acknowledge that and then push forward. So yeah, so as I was kind of pushing through this next semester at Baruch, I did run into a lot of challenges where sometimes I didn't really understand the material, or sometimes the material was a lot more complex than my last semester, my first semester at Baruch. So I even had to take I actually went to like tutoring. I went to tutoring sessions quite a bit. I think I went to tutoring roughly 5 to 10 hours a week. And yeah, it was definitely worth it though, because as I kind of did the tutoring, I went to my professor for office hours. I did study groups. I studied on my own. Like it was very intense overall, just to make sure that I secured that top 10, top 20% percentile of grades. So luckily, at the end of the day, as I pushed myself forward, and sometimes I think another lesson that I learned while I was at Baruch is it's something known as sacrifice. So as you sacrifice more of your time, or you sacrifice more of, kind of like your free time to go out and party or kind of do social activities, sometimes it gets tough to do that. I think it's very tough sometimes to sacrifice fun for studying, or for things that are not as fun in some regards. So I think that's another thing that I did learn to live without, where I wasn't hanging out with my friends as much, and I was a lot more focused on ensuring that for my future that I actually made the grade, and ensure that I pushed myself as hard as I could. So definitely at Baruch, two of the key themes that I would say is sacrifice, which is sacrificing your time, and the other aspect is competition, ensuring that you're keeping up with your competition, sometimes hoping to exceed them, and then getting the results that you're going after. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job, and I'm wishing everyone out there all the best. All right, until next time, adios.